with my brother Nico Carrillo, all the way from Scotland. Amazing to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
I taught an amazing seminar last night. Everybody's raving about it. And watched some of your fights in 1FC. Amazing, man.
Yeah, last night's seminar was fun. Yeah, it was a good turnout on short notice as well. I had fun. Yeah.
Nice. How did you get into Muay Thai in Scotland?
I started Muay Thai when I was 15 years old. Just by chance, really. I always played
13 years old.
15.
15 years old.
Yeah. It was just by chance. One of my friends went to a Muay Thai gym, and he was just kind of like, you should come. Like, I liked it. You will like it as well. And I went, and the day I walked in that gym, the smell, the people, the atmosphere. The day I walked in that gym, I knew that this is what I want to do the rest of my life. And I never, and from that day, I was in that gym every single day. And to this day, I always say, at 15 years old, walking into that Muay Thai gym changed my life for the better. I had my first fight 2 months after.
3 months after. 2 months after.
2 months after, being a raw novice, never trained Muay Thai before. Just went, and I was just so obsessed with it that I picked it up relatively quick. And I went into a junior open like competition. So it's like you fight, whatever weight you are, you fight. And then if you get beat, that's you. If you win, then you fight the next guy who won the fight, like a quarter-final, semi-final.
Yeah.
And I had 2 fights that day.
Wow.
Beat one guy, then I went into the final for my weight, and I beat him. So my first time ever competing, I became the junior Scottish Open champion.
Wow. Was it Muay Thai? Like your gym, was it a Muay Thai gym or was it something else?
Just Muay Thai.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is that very common?
When I think about it in Scotland, it probably is. I would say that I might just be saying this because I know more Muay Thai gyms, but I know all the MMA gyms as well. And I think that there's probably more Muay Thai gyms in Scotland than there is MMA.
Wow.
Could be wrong, but from my knowledge, and at that time as well, I was always into the UFC and I loved it, but at that time, like, I didn't even know there was MMA gyms in Scotland. Just Muay Thai.
Maybe because you're in that scene of.
That's it.
So you're more focused on the Muay Thai gyms, but wow. I'm just it's like because you 15 years old. You're how old? You 24 now?
25.
25. It's amazing, man. And watching some of your fights, your technique and your composure, your Muay Thai, just all the what do you call it? The clinching work.
Yeah.
Super technical.
It's a big part of the game, the clinching. Like, and unfortunately, Scottish and UK gyms, they neglect the clinch, and you'll always get found out in a fight if you neglect the clinch. The reason I'm so good at clinching is because I spent a lot of time in Thailand, so I had no choice but to clinch.
Yeah.
Because they train clinch the way that we over here train technique and train pad work. Like, that's how long they clinch for every single day. Like, you know how like running is a part of a fight camp? Like, they clinch that often, like every single day. Like, that's what you do. It's not just sometimes, it's every day you clinch. And I had no option but to get good at it. I remember the first time when I was 15, I went to a gym, and it was like Channel 7 champion, which is like a major like stadium in Thailand. If you're a champion of the stadiums in Thailand, you're creme de la creme.
Ramadan, you said?
Sorry?
What gym? What arena?
Channel 7.
Channel 7.
So it was Rungribi, his name was, Sassy Prapa Gym, and he was Channel 7 champion at the time.
I got it.
And I hardly know how to clinch at the time, but these are the kind of guys that I got thrown into the deep end with. And I would clinch with them, and I had no idea what I was doing, and they wouldn't take it easy on us because we were foreigners. And I walked into the gym the next day, and I couldn't move my neck for 3 days. Like, I had to turn my body to speak to people because of how bad they jarred my neck. And just from there, that's it. It's like, get good, or this is going to happen to you every single day.
I have to learn this.
Clinching's amazing.
Yeah.
I actually done some rolling, not at a very good level, let me say, but I actually done some rolling. I done a few PTs with a jiu-jitsu guy over in Scotland. Just wanted to dabble in it, and I found that the stuff that I can do in the clinch, I can actually do from the ground as well, and put the people on top of me in a really uncomfortable position from the clinch game of Muay Thai.
It's control.
So it's all relative.
Yeah. When I got into Muay Thai, I really appreciated Coach Andy's coach, Walter. He trained in Sidiotong. That was his lineage, and yeah, he would do a lot of clinch work, and I appreciated all the clinch work. And I would train MMA, Dan Henderson, and so he was good Greco-Roman. So just how it's all connected,
Absolutely. Like, see, when you watch like the UFC fights, you can always see the guys who have trained in a Muay Thai background with the clinch, because they get into this position and the other guys start like try to push their hands out or try to punch your ribs, and the other guys have just got full control of the neck, and they're kneeing and they're controlling. So if you know how to clinch, and MMA especially, in my opinion, you've got the upper hand for sure. Yeah.
So going back to when you first started, when you started training every day, like how I mean, you're in Scotland. How many classes? How much? What was the training like?
At the start?
Yeah.
At the start, I think I trained maybe 5. Just from the off-go, honestly, I was so obsessed.
Yeah.
That I was training every single day when I was 15 years old. Like, I would go to school, and all day in school, I would watch videos of the Thais fighting, and the teacher would try and take my phone off me because I'm not paying attention in class, and then I would end up arguing with the teacher, and I would get suspended. Now, I'm not saying this is the way. I'm not saying this is the way to do it.
Right.
But I'm telling my story.
Yeah.
And my story was, I was so obsessed with watching fights that nothing else mattered in my life. And I would go to school, and the only thing I wanted to do was wait for that bell to ring at the end of the day so I could go home and go to Muay Thai. And that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday morning as well. Sometimes I would come in Sunday morning as well.
Wow.
And that was just, from 15 years old, that was a big chunk of my teenage years, just totally obsessed.
That's how you do it. That's how you become a world champion.
Exactly. Exactly.
What were your parents thinking?
Honestly, I can't even remember, to be honest. It just, nothing bad, obviously. Yeah. I think I'm probably just happy that I'm doing something and I'm off the streets. Looking back on it, I'm sure that's why my mum would be happy, or anybody. Even looking back on it, that's why I'm happy. Like, it put me on a different trajectory of what a lot of my old friends are. A lot of my old friends are in jail, still losers, still doing the same thing we were doing when we were 15 years old, 16 years old. Some are dead. Boys at the same circle as me as I hang about when I was that age. So
partying and going out.
Same stuff. Same stuff. Partying. Now you can't even afford to go out and party. Do you know what I mean? So I'm still staying in their mum's house at 25, 26 years old. Always out of a job. It's always the world's fault. It's never their fault that they can't keep a job, etc. So yeah, that's just the mindset of where I grew up, and I was the one guy who escaped that through Muay Thai.
Through Muay Thai. What was your first event outside of Scotland?
Excuse me. Well, it was in the UK still. Okay. So fought in the UK and Scotland loads. Outside of that, my first fight was actually in Thailand.
Wow.
And that was, I think I was at 15, 16. So the first full year that I started.
You said 15, 16 years old?
Yeah. When I was 15, I started, and I think a year later, so when I turned 16, just turned 16, I went to Thailand with who is now my coach, but at the time he was a fighter. And we went to...
He was a what?
He was a fighter.
A fighter?
Yeah, but he's now my coach. But at the time he was still fighting, and we both went to Thailand. He was.
So he was like your guardian to be able to fly with, or whatever.
Well, yeah, let's call it that. And then we both fought. I was 16, had never fought without protection,
Yeah.
and I fought professional full Muay Thai rules, and I won in the second round by knockout.
Wow.
And I decided from there, once I came home, I said to my coach at the time, so the guy I was with wasn't my coach at the time. He was a fighter, but we trained together. But I had another coach, and then when he left, my coach now became the full-time coach and stuff. And when I went back, I said, I don't ever want to fight with protection on ever again. Let me fight professional now. And I was 16. But the thing is, the reason they let me is because I took to it like a duck to water. Like I took to
all day, every day.
That's it, exactly.
Who are some of the fighters you watched at school? Who are some of your favorite guys you would study and learn from?
When I was in school, I used to watch a lot of Açai. I used to watch a lot of Nongo, who I just beat in December. So it's a crazy circle. I used to sit in school and watch this guy fight at the highest level. And he's still at the highest level because he's been the one championship champion for the last 5 years. 8 defences. He only got dethroned this year, and then I beat him straight after that. So people like that. But also, I wasn't always just influenced by Muay Thai. I love boxing. So I would watch a lot of Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is my favourite boxer. I would watch a lot of Mike Tyson, Canelo Alvarez. I would watch a fighter straight for weeks, and I would go into the gym and I would try and imitate them. And then I would watch a different fighter with a different style, and then I would go in the gym and imitate them. So I would watch like Floyd Mayweather, moving the shoulders fast. I would try that. Then I would watch like a really heavy hitter, and then I would watch like a Pech Bunchu, who's a really good clincher. And every time we sparred, all I would focus was going into the clinch and trying the stuff he done. And then I would do things Sanchai done, shuffle the feet, kicking a lot. And I just kept doing that. And I would take a bit from him, take a bit from him, take a bit from him, shake it up and see what we can get. And that's how I can do a bit of everything now. And it's kind of just went like that.
Wow. Yeah, so you studied all the whatever, see what works, best combos, best...
Not combos, but style of fighting.
Style of fights, yeah.
Style of fighting, yeah.
And then after you became, at 16 years old, you're like, I'm not gonna fight again. And are you still in school at that point?
Still in school at 16, and I need to start making money now to train because my mum and my gran will no longer help. So I then kind of started working a job. I went on like a little construction course while I was still training, and then at this time also, when I was 15, I also met my now fiance at that time as well. So I'd been with her for like a year or so, and I left school early, way early. I left school with nothing, and my fiance's dad had a company, an electrical company. So I got lucky, and he gave me a job for the next few years, and I worked as an electrician for the next few years. And then I quit when I was 18, 19. That there was, I was doing fight camps, but I was fighting guys who didn't work, and I was working a full-time job.
Yeah.
So at like 18 years old, I decided to take the full leap, like everything into Muay Thai.
Yeah.
But obviously at that age, it was scary because obviously financially, you don't
What kind of opportunities are there to make a living from Muay Thai?
At that time, honestly, not a lot. At that time, and then maybe a year later, one championship really burst onto the scene, and I was like, "This is it. This is what I'm chasing now, and I won't stop until I get there." And
because all they had before that was like K1 and kind of things, glory
and stuff were the best paying. Muay Thai really wasn't paying well at all. But for me at that age, it was never about the money. It was always for the love of the sport and the love of competition. But it becomes a point when you're with someone and you want to start a family and you really need to start getting paid for being good at something, you know. And so that's when I quit my job. And I was like, I need financial freedom, and this is what I'm going to do to get that. Because you can get financial freedom being an electrician, totally, but am I happy?
Right.
I'm not happy. So for me, if you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. And the day I quit my job is the happiest every day I've been in my life.
Living your dream.
Exactly, living the dream. That is it. And anybody can do it. That's the thing. They just need to take that little jump. And it can be scary, but you either live your own dream or you're living in someone else's dream. Because someone else is your boss. They've got their own company. That was their dream, and you're just in their dream, and you can create your own. So
now you're out here in LA, Los Angeles.
Yep.
Doing some seminars, doing some tourist things, right?
Yep. First time over here, and when the West Coast, I always go to Florida and stuff like that. I like it over there, but I really like it over here as well. So yeah, like I said, Muay Thai just allows me to travel the world now, meet awesome people. Honestly, every day I'm just really, really grateful that I walked into that gym that day.
Yeah. What are some of the things, like, you know, like 15 years old, right? That makes, like, that's such a crucial time, right? And when you're growing up, like I was telling you, my kids are 15, 16, you know? So I can't, like, to have that kind of focus, that kind of mindset, where do you think that came from? Because that's like something like genetic, deeper inside you to have that kind of wiring, you know?
No, I know.
To focus like that.
Honestly, I don't know where it stems from. I didn't. My mum and dad split up when I was like 5 years old, so I never seen my dad after that. People say that my dad was quite sportsy and stuff, but I wouldn't know. So I don't really know where it comes from. Obviously, the mindset that I have today in the last 5 years, I didn't have that when I was 15. I wasn't like this crazy, strong-minded person, but I was at that age just very competitive. I've always been competitive, even before I started Muay Thai, football, soccer. I just hated losing at everything. Any little competitions, jumping ropes, who can jump the highest, whatever. I just always tried my hardest to be first, and I don't know where that comes from. It's obviously something genetically. I just hated losing, and I loved being first at everything, and that obviously helps me when I transitioned into Muay Thai. Again, don't know where it came from, but then obviously once I became professional. Not at 16, 17, because I still, at that age, wasn't so focused. I was a great fighter, and I was training hard in the gym, but I still wasn't doing the right things outside the gym. And then it was when I done it, it's when I quit my job, that's when I started doing everything as a proper athlete.
That's quite the story, man. Quite the story. Really, really special. 15 years old, walking into Muay Thai gym. Why do you think, what is it about Muay Thai that made you like, this is it?
Honestly, if I walked into an MMA gym that day, it could have been that. If I walked into something else, it could have been that. Honestly, when I walked in that day, it was just, everything clicked. Everything felt good. I seen the smell, the atmosphere. One guy had just fought like that weekend, and he was back in the gym, and everybody was around him taking pictures and stuff. And at the time, I was like, "That's so cool. I want that." So that was it.
You know, I love UFC. I love you know, I loved all the Japanese, like the K1, the Glories, all those things. But man, I love ONE FC. I love the Muay Thai
With small gloves on.
Small gloves on.
Like
watching your fights, I was like, oh man,
it's a game
kidding
changer.
me? Are you kidding me? And then of course the MMA. But the jiu-jitsu too, the grappling.
Yeah, they do the
highest level of guys, and you know, it's so international too. Like, man, if you from Scotland.
Yeah, of course, I know. Yeah, they've got the grappling matches in the middle of the shows as well. Mikey Musumeci and the Ruotolo brothers.
Ruotolo brothers, yeah.
Yeah, so they actually just fought last week. So
Yeah.
So yeah, one championship. They've just brought a different kind of limelight to Muay Thai, which it deserves, in my opinion.
What's that?
Which it deserves. The light that it's getting now.
Yes, for sure.
It deserves, because us Thai boxers and athletes who train Muay Thai, we train harder than any guy who's getting paid hundreds of thousands. We train harder than any boxer.
Yeah.
We train harder than any UFC fighter. It's all the same. There's just not enough exposure on us.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's a much harder sport than any of them. The striking in Muay Thai is at the highest level, and it takes years and years to perfect that the kind of techniques. Even in the UFC, in my opinion, I love the UFC, but you see all the leg breaks. You see it's because they're not kicking properly, they're not checking properly. The technique isn't crisp the way it is in Muay Thai. Now, obviously, this is coming from a Muay Thai purist, but that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, yeah, right. The guy checking the leg kicks and kicking, right, the way they're kicking.
Exactly, and in the UFC, there's leg breaks all the time. You never happens in Muay Thai because of the technique is perfect.
What's could you explain a little bit why or how to keep your legs safe from breaking? And I know it's a big question, but in a summary.
And unfortunately, there's not a one-fits-all answer.
Sure.
Okay, because you could kick different from the next guy, and the next guy could kick different from the next guy, and you could all possibly break your legs when you check my kick. I would have to see the way you kick. I'd have to see the way the next guy kicked and the next guy kicked and correct you individually, because it's too vague a question for me to just say.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. That's a big, general, broad question that's hard to answer in one simple summary way, right?
Of course, exactly.
But in timing, how they kick,
exactly, where they kick, placement, kicking as well. You see a lot of guys kicking with a bent leg, so the knee's bent. Whenever you're kicking, your leg should be straight so that the hip can turn over. And that's even when you're low kicking, you're chopping down. But people are kicking with bends in their legs, so their leg isn't like a barge
structure,
pole.
yeah.
It isn't like a barge pole coming in. It's like it's not like stable.
Right.
So that could be an answer.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I've studied a lot of biomechanics with the arms and stuff, but I never really think about the legs.
It's the same. It's the exact
same thing. Yeah.
Same.
Like you want to engage your lat when you're locking your elbow out. So same thing with the hips
all
and
the
the
same. Knee, hips, it's exact same.
Yeah.
It's exact same.
Structure. Yeah. One of the things I love about ONE FC, like I was telling you about, also the culture.
Yeah.
The culture.
Absolutely.
The traditions, because coming up, I lived in Brazil when I was younger, and I just loved like the culture of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I also got into Muay Thai a little bit, right? And loved like the culture I went to Thailand a couple times.
That for me is another way. It changed my life. It made me into the gentleman that I am today. It taught me about respect. Taught me about honour. You walk into the gym, you bow to everybody. You take your shoes off when you walk in the mats. Just little silly things like that you take with you the rest of your life, and it teaches you manners.
Yeah.
But then you get the boxers who are all just they're just so rude to each other, and because there's no culture there, and there's no old tradition. But in jiu-jitsu, you just walk in.
Yeah.
Okay, you take your shoes off and mats. All little things like that stem into being a really good person and teaching you manners. In boxing, they don't have that. And that's why it's always this, that in boxing. The Muay Thai, the MMA guy, Jiu-Jitsu, they can be so nice to each other. Me and you just talking so nice, and we can go down there and have the best fight. We'll go there and kill each other, and we'll shake hands after it.
Yeah.
You don't need all this all the time. Now, I can understand that it sells a fight, and I can understand sometimes that there is real bad blood there. I'm going through it a little bit right now where there is real bad blood there and so forth. But not every single fight has to be like that. Where I feel like boxing, every single fight, they hate each other. How can you hate so many people? How can you hate every single person you're going to fight? You know what I mean? There might be one person in the odd 15 people, in the last 15 people, I really don't like, because for the last few years there's been a build-up. But in the boxers, it's just like, okay, he's the next person I'm fighting. Oh, fuck this guy, I fucking hate him and his family. And it's like, why? Why? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, martial arts, boxing isn't a martial arts. Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA is a martial art. The martial arts is where the respect and the culture is. Jiu-Jitsu comes from Brazil, so you learn about the Brazilian culture, the traditions.
Through Japan and all that, right?
Exactly. Thai boxing,
Bushido.
Thailand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's always a deep stemmed
history, yeah.
Exactly.
Roots. Yeah, I love it. You got William Wallace. You were mentioning that before. It's one of my favorite movies.
Same. I said it last night.
What'd you say?
I said Braveheart was my. I done a Q&A at the end.
Okay.
And they asked me my favorite movie, and I said it was Braveheart, which is not a lie. I absolutely love it. Every time I fight, on fight week, the day before I fight, couple of days before I always watch Braveheart.
Wow.
Always. That's like part of my fight week.
Every man dies, but not every man truly lives.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What is it about that gets you pumped up?
Just honestly, just because it's Scottish, but also because it's against the English, and there's just a deep history of Scotland and England fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just gets me pumped. There's just some badass quotes in it that just make my hair stand up, and it just gets me into like battle fever. It just gets me ready and just wanting to fight. So.
You ever go out with blue paint on your face?
I've thought about it a few times. Well,
right.
what I have done is I've
That'd be like, man.
Yeah.
I saw the Scottish flag on your shorts. I was like, yeah. When he told me about you coming through.
I've walked out with the kilt on.
Oh yeah.
I've done that in loads of fights. I've not done it in one championship yet, but I used to always walk out with a kilt on. So, just not the blue face. You couldn't walk out with that on because then you need to like
you have to take it
off and stuff. So they wouldn't even allow that anyway.
Yeah. I was thinking about Scotland. Yeah, so amazing, you know, just the different cultures. I mean, Conor blew up what he did, you know, putting Ireland on the map.
And that was another guy at that age that, I mean, Conor's a lot of things now, but at that age, what Conor done, no guy has ever done, and no one will ever be able to take that away from Conor McGregor. Yeah. Might be a bit crazy now, but he done what he done, and he changed the game. And at that time, he was another guy I watched. He was another guy I looked up to at the time, with the Floyd Mayweathers and the...
Yeah, what he did is, I mean...
He made everybody want to do MMA. When I was growing up, it was like, everybody did Muay Thai, and all of a sudden Conor McGregor was like, shit, I want to try MMA now.
Yeah. I love Muay Thai. So what an amazing representative that Muay Thai has with you.
Yeah.
Scottish fighter, champion.
Yeah, it's crazy because Scotland's just such a small place. It's a little small island, and just one little guy from, they used to call it the projects over here. In Scotland we call it the scheme.
The scheme.
From one little guy from the scheme is made it out and is doing great things. And for me, I want to inspire Scottish people. I want to because the culture in Scotland is very different from the rest of the world. A lot of people don't make it out. So my goal, obviously next to the belts and the gold and the glory, is I really want to inspire and leave a legacy in the world, but for Scotland, for my own people. I want to show the next generation, the people, the way that I grew up, the way that they're grown up. You don't have to be like everybody else. There's a way out, but you have to be willing to work to get it. Because nothing in life's handed to you.
Yeah.
Everything involves work.
Yeah.
But I am a walking example of the next generation. You don't have to be like the next person. You can be like me. I done it, so anybody can do it.
Yeah. There was a book, I forgot the name of it. I was trying to, from the guy from Scotland. These young guys. It was like heroin, and I forgot the name. They even made is it Train Spotting? Train Spotting years ago, but it was like so good, and got into Scottish culture and just young people. And
Train Spotting is a good example. That is like the Scottish culture.
I read the book, and then the movie wasn't as as good as the book, but it was. When you say those things, it brings me back to just the scene, right, in Scotland.
That's
Kent
exactly.
part of it,
That's exactly it. That is exactly it, and that's the way everybody I know has grown up in. It's unfortunate. It's like that everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But I feel that in Scotland they're onto it at a much younger age than the rest of the world. Like their eyes are open at a much 12, 13. People are already out partying and drinking and whatnot. And from there, once you do that at that young, it's hard to come out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Well, you're a great example of the right way to martial arts, right?
That's
Through
it.
martial arts.
That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to show people. That, and it doesn't have to be martial arts, but it was martial arts for me. And when I have children, I would love for them. I've always said this. I don't do jiu-jitsu, but I would love for my young children to start with jiu-jitsu. Number one, you'll learn how to defend yourself. Number two, it will teach you about the manners and the stuff that we've already spoke about. Now, from there, if they want to go and compete and do Muay Thai box, that's fine. Do that. I'll never push them into anything.
Yeah.
But the one thing I would ask them to do is jiu-jitsu. So that they have that. So that, not Muay Thai. I'll never ask them to do Muay Thai, but I would ask them to do jiu-jitsu from a young age so that they know how to defend themselves.
Character building.
Character building is important at that age as well.
That's interesting. I love jiu-jitsu. I love Muay Thai. I love MMA as well. So it's really cool to hear you say that. Yeah, it's all connected, right?
My fiance will tell you. I've never said I would want the kids to do Muay Thai. I've never said that. If they do, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
But I've always said I would put them into jiu-jitsu classes. Yeah.
Why is that?
Just like I don't really. I feel that at that age, Muay Thai, the striking and stuff is. I feel like they might not want to do that. But with jiu-jitsu, I feel like it's not as bad for a kid rolling, but it's like the level of self-defense you can get from rolling. It never teaches you to be violent. Like striking never teaches you to be violent, but if someone puts their hands on you,
you know what to do.
Exactly.
Like second nature.
Exactly. So I think that's the little difference for me.
We were talking earlier about my kids and my daughters, right? And yeah, it's like that part. But we were talking about the if they wanted to fight, the striking, yeah. And so like it's not as hard on their body and the brain damage. I don't want them to have brain damage, when they're kids.
Exactly. Even at a young age, getting tapped in the head and stuff.
Yeah,
it's
not necessary. Good. Yeah.
So that would be my reason. Now, if they wanted to do the Muay Thai, be the happiest dad in the world.
Yeah, for sure. You know? And you can teach them technique.
Exactly,
and get into it.
But I would never force them into anything. But the one thing I'm not going to say force, but I would urge them really to do is jiu-jitsu.
Amazing. Yeah. That's coming from best in the world. Muay Thai. Yeah. Man, I really enjoyed watching your fights. I was like, I wasn't expecting. And then Kevin, and he was telling me about you, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Your clinch work. Again, I was like, wow, it's like that's how many years of that's like focus. That's like a lot of that's hard. I mean, everything's hard, right? But
everything is hard. That is true. But even a lot of great fighters in Muay Thai, their clinch isn't up to scratch. And in the last few, probably my last 5 or 6, 7 fights, I've been in some sort of clinching position with all my opponents, and I've been able to take their back and knee them in the back and stuff like that. And if you do that in Muay Thai, it's a really high score, like being able to take someone's back. And a lot of the time I can do that. Maybe my clinch is really good, but I feel like even a lot of top level fighters still neglect the clinch.
Yeah.
And even in Thailand, all the Thais, like you've got the really good clinchers, right? Some of them, but even in Thailand, the Thais, their clinch, all of them, the clinch, some of their clinches, it isn't amazing because they just go through the motions. You know what I mean? They just get made to do it, and they're just going through the motions rather than actually trying to perfect their craft. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Like studying, playing around with the positions.
Exactly. Just coming
like a lab.
Just coming in and they're tired, and they're just because the coach is watching, they're just like, right, hand here, knee. Every time I clinch, it's like, no, I'm going to try and dominate here. And if you put up a fight, then I'm going to work harder. And I'm going to try and get you in horrible positions, and I'm going to try some certain locks, and I'm going to try sweep you. Do you know what I mean? So it's always a difference. I never walk into the gym and I just go through the motions. When I walk in the gym, doesn't matter how I feel. Sometimes I don't feel up for it. I'll have a word with myself, and I'll slap myself out that mind frame, and I'll force myself to switch it on.
Yeah.
So
what's next for you? What are your you're here, LA seminars. You're at. Was there a ONE FC event right now? No, there's not.
There was one last. There's one Friday nights every Friday, and then there's a prime card every second or third Saturday. but it would still be Friday over here, but it's Saturday over there. But right now for me, I'm just out here touring, doing seminars because I had a surgery in my hand in January, so I was just recovering. I've made a full recovery now.
Nice.
The company knows this, so really I'm just waiting to get a fight. I was meant to fight. Obviously, I'm now #1 contender. I was meant to fight the champion. They gave someone else the fight. Don't know why. I'm a bit confused at that. Because the only fight all the fans want to see is me vs the champion.
Yeah.
The other fight is great as well, but the fight that everybody really wants to see because it's Scotland v England, me vs the champion. But someone else has got that now, so I'm just kind of waiting. The company knows I'm ready to fight, so I'm just waiting in limbo. And the thing is, I'm 25 years old. I don't want to be having one fight, 2 fights a year. I'm 25. I'm not even in my prime. I'm just coming into my prime years. I need to be active. I need to be fighting 3-4 times a year. So I really, really hope the company hears me out here and just keeps me active. It is so important for a young fighter to stay active.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to your future ONE FC fights. What about the MMA gloves, like the transitioning from the regular boxing gloves to?
Transitioning for the first fight was a little bit different because I was coming up against a kind of K1 kind of styled opponent, so I really had to be on my foot movement. Normally you can absorb the punches with the 8-ounce gloves on and stuff, but if you stand in the pocket with the small gloves on, everything gets through, and everything hurts so much more with the small gloves on. Like a jab with the small gloves on is just a jab. A jab with the big gloves on. The jab with the small gloves on, shit, that can break your nose.
Yeah.
So it's like I had to transition. I had to get better with my feet. I had to be in and out more. So the first fight camp, the first few weeks was really with my brain. But again, with everything, I put my mind to it, and I took to it very well. Now I've transitioned over perfectly, in my opinion, and the style is suited to me. I'm a big puncher, and I love it. I prefer fighting with the smaller gloves on than the big gloves. My hands don't because they've been fucked up. Yeah, but I do prefer it. I love it.
Yeah, I loved just seeing the small glove. I mean, it's like MMA with small, Muay Thai with MMA with Muay Thai MMA.
Exactly, it's the same, but better strikers.
Yeah,
much better.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like the MMA when they're standing up, but it's like tenfold because it's the Muay Thai guys who know how to strike properly.
Yeah.
And they're wearing the small gloves, so it's just chaos.
Yeah. Why did they do that? Why did ONE FC do that?
Honestly, why did they do it? I don't know, but fuck, it worked.
Yeah, I was exciting.
It must have just been, how can we make this sport more exciting?
Exciting, yeah.
Well, that was it. So the guy that came up with it, probably the CEO of the company, Chatri. Well done, that was awesome.
Man.
Good move.
Yeah, wow.
And you only hear the only people who talk bad about this new style is the people who don't suit it. So the Muay Fameurs, the guy who is really slow and technical, these guys will slag it off. Oh, it's killing the old tradition. Man, who gives a shit? It's so much more exciting.
Yeah.
They're only saying that because they ain't one standard.
They don't want to be in front of it.
Exactly. So that's the only reason they say it. That's the only guys that ever badmouth it. Everybody else loves it.
Yeah.
Including me.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I loved watching it.
Yeah, wow. Exactly. It's amazing for the fans.
Yeah.
Like the people who watch it for the first time, because Muay Thai, next to all the rest of them, is still niche. It's still very. It's getting bigger. My God, it's getting bigger, but it's still very, very small. But like you never hear someone like going to a Muay Thai fight and leaving saying, "Oh, that was crap." Mm-hmm. Every person you hear from who've seen it for the first time go, "Holy shit, that was crazy! Why did I watch boxing?"
Yeah,
that was so much better.
Yeah. Elbows, everything's legal. Knees,
the art of 8 limbs.
Yeah. But with small gloves.
Small gloves. That's it. So, yeah, it's awesome.
The Chatri, you mentioned Chatri, the CEO of ONE FC.
Yep.
How do you think he's helped the whole, not just Muay Thai, but just the whole world of martial arts?
Really well, because, well, obviously, when you think of martial arts, you only really think of the UFC, and now the platform in Asia for MMA as well. So it's given all the really amazing mixed martial artists from Asia. I mean, because they're so far away, it's hard for them to get to the top. Do you know what I mean? So now they've got their own company who's at that level over on the other side of the world. So now it's given all these mixed martial artists the platform that they deserve and the opportunity to be at the creme de la creme. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah.
And also for Muay Thai though, like in my opinion, and I will always say it, and I'll keep saying it. In my opinion, Muay Thai is the best sport in the world, and it's starting to get the recognition it deserves. It's still maybe a few years away from being everybody and their granny knows about it, but for the best part, over the last few years, people I speak to now have a good knowledge of what Muay Thai is. Yeah. When before they would be like, what's that, like karate shit, judo? I'm like, no, it's not that, it's something else. Yeah. But now they've actually got a knowledge, they know what it is. Yeah. And it's more than likely because of one championship. Yeah. 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 Chatri does a lot for the country of Thailand and all. Thailand's a country in poverty. So he does a lot for gyms. He donates a lot of money to gyms that aren't so well run and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah, he... Is it the Sidiatong gym that he grew up in? Like he got it connected to? I don't actually know. I would be lying because he has like Sidiatong last name. Right? No, I don't notice that actually. I would be lying if I answered that. I don't actually know. I should find out. I think Walter talked to me about it a little bit a while back. You know, that makes sense. So, but yeah, man, he just what I love about ONE FC is like we talk about the traditions like in martial arts and the history like in jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. And he's really bringing that together, because even MMA, there's not like the tradition because of the wrestlers and the boxers and more wrestlers, right? But they don't have that traditional martial arts sense, and he's definitely bringing that with ONE FC. For sure, I agree. Yeah, and I love. Yeah, just I'm watching all the more and more because you see the things on social media and they have the best fights on there, like. Muay Thai and K1 fights are just carnage at the top level. Yeah. There's a big show coming to Denver, Colorado, and I think Atlanta as well. So it just for one championship to take that next explosion, it just more Americans need to know about it, and yeah, that's the next step. I watched it. I watched the first one they had in the U.S. On Amazon Prime, from beginning to end. And usually it's hard, right? The UFC, it's kind of hard. It's like a long time to watch, right? But I watched it from beginning to end, and I was in the whole time. Fight banger after banger. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it was the jiu-jitsu, the grappling, the Muay Thai, the MMA. Different rule set. The rule sets, yeah. So that's the good thing about one championship. UFC is just mixed martial arts. One championship is there can be 3 Muay Thai fights, 3 MMA fights, 3 kickboxing fights. Shit, sometimes they do mixed rule fights. You see Rodtang fought Demetrius Johnson. Yeah. First round Muay Thai, second round MMA, third round Muay Thai, fourth round MMA. They do stuff like that as well, so it's cool. Yeah. And in the US it's probably different, but just the Pride FC right back in the day. Pride FC rules with UFC rules, because in Pride you couldn't throw elbows. But in Pride was just like last man standing, right? Wasn't it just like 10-minute rounds, last man standing kind of shit? Yeah. But it was cool with ONE FC, right? You can do everything. You can even do soccer kicks. That's right. Also, you can knee to the head. The head, Pride rules, and UFC rules. You can throw elbows, right? Yep, that's exactly that. So it's like the real Only thing you can't do is strike the back of the head. Right. That's it. Everything else is fucking pretty much legal. Yeah, because back in the day with the Gracie family, right? It was like vale tudo, anything goes. Right. Right. And now there's like specific rule sets, right? In the UFC, why not? I mean, I know why. It's like safety, right? People are getting soccer kicked. Of course. They have enough, enemies or whatever, people going against it. But man, it's really refreshing, really cool to see all the work and all the growth that ONE FC has been doing these last years that I've been watching. Again, I can't wait to see you become, keep going and become champion. I'll be champ soon. Yeah. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And when the time comes, I can assure everybody that I will be the one championship champion. Now, I thought it was going to be this year, but they've gave someone else a fight. So now we must master the art of patience. And once the time comes, I'll be sure that I'll be grabbing that opportunity with both hands. I've worked hard to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop there. The goal was always to be the champion and some. So that's when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Well said. That's it. Man, I wanted to mention Raymond Decker.
Yeah.
Somebody I used to watch, back in the day. What are your thoughts on Raymond?
Legend. That's the only word to describe him, isn't it? Absolute living legend. One of the first foreigners ever to do what he done in Thailand. Come onto the scene as a foreigner, a white guy, and just beat all the stadium champions and just fight at the highest level. And it's even more amazing is that it was through his own style. It wasn't beating these guys. Obviously, it was Muay Thai rules, but he had his own style, which is now known as Dutch style. And that's how he was beating these guys, and that's how now Dutch style is so. It's a style of fighting. It's so, especially in K1, but he was doing it in Muay Thai, and he was beating the top Thais. Just an absolute legend. One of the first foreigners ever to come on the scene and do that.
Yeah. First foreigner to ever, to make his mark in the
For sure.
Thai scene.
First white guy to come on and beat the top level
guys.
stadium fighters. So, yeah, he's left a legacy for sure.
Yeah, I love it. Well, man, I appreciate you coming out here. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us. Appreciate your personality, just your respect. The first time I met you, you feel that right away.
Of course.
I love it. Toughest in the world, best in the world, acting like you should act, right? I appreciate you a lot. And how can people find more about you, or how can people find, if they want to get in contact with you?
Honestly, I don't really use much else apart from Instagram. So if you want to get in contact with me, I do normally read all my requests. So my Instagram is Nico Carrillo _KOTN. KOTN meaning King of the North.
King of the North.
Yep.
I was wondering about that, what that was.
So that's what KOTN is. And yeah, get on me for that. Also, I have a website, NicoCarrilloTraining.com. It's just got like the seminar. For the people who enjoyed the seminar, I would urge them to subscribe, because it's just the seminar times 100. I've done maybe like 20 techniques in the seminar. There's maybe like 500 techniques on my website, from beginner to intermediate to fighter, beginner clinching, intermediate clinching, catching kicks, striking, catching kicks, certain sweeps, blocking, how to block properly, how to fight a southpaw, an elbow course. There's just loads. Everything I know is on that website, and I'm still uploading weekly. So yeah.
You want to give a shout out to anybody?
I'll give a shout out to my fiance.
Yeah.
Lots of love. Thank you for travelling the world for me. Along with Muay Thai, she is also the reason I am who I am today. So I'm grateful to have her.
Thank you.
Thank you.